story tells of a young man named Azura who holds fast to the principle of his late mother that every good deed will bring goodness and evil deeds will be punished. Therefore, Azura always makes time to do good every day, even if only once. Being a good person does not mean that goodness will always be received. Azura is an example. The young man was often bullied by several bullies, but he kept smiling because he believed that those who do evil will be punished by heaven. One day, when Azura was about to go somewhere, he saw a shop and guarded the shop. The old man offered Azura a key, and the key could be used to open a door, namely, the door to hell. Azura, a junior high school student, always holds fast to the principles of his late mother to do good. In fact, the young man has a keychain with a carved quote that reads, "One good deed a day." Azura also understands and notices that in the world, in the environment where
this audio sucks, but I only want to recap because I forgot the beginning start goes. Even though I reread it. Bless you. Bless you.
These posts quickly gained millions of views, widespread concern from viewers, many of whom reported the videos to local authorities. Police then arrived at an apartment in Euclid, a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, where they reportedly discovered the decomposed body of a 79-year-old man identified as Juego Burks. Following the discovery, another TikTok posted by the same user resurfaced, showing a man Burks' hair, allegedly filmed before the man's death. his doll of flesh. His content quickly gained attention for its disturbing stop-motion clay animations, which often depicted graphic and horrific crimes. While many of his videos focused on exaggerated or fictionalized violence, it appeared that Labute had a particular fascination with one type of crime above all others: animal cruelty. Although much of his earlier work involved claymation, he would eventually take this disturbing interest into reality. On May 7th, 2019, Labute tweeted, "I think I'll purchase some hamsters as a form of company," foreshadowing the events that would shock the online community. Just a few days later, he uploaded a video titled "One Kid, 3 Hamsters," introducing the 3 hamsters he had purchased.
So, I got 3 of them, and I thought of names yet. Not so good with names. Why? So I decided to start thought it was recording, but then it didn't record, so yeah, I decided to distract before looking to skip everything. So yeah, as I said, I'm still thinking of names for them. These are not for shortcuts or hamsters. Well, I just spent them when I thought I was recording it, so now they're trying to escape recording, but not as that.
Initially, the footage appeared to be a standard vlog-style video of his pets. However, the following day, Labute posted another video in which he brutally and ultimately killed the hamsters and microwaved them. The content was too graphic and dark for platforms like YouTube, and we will not be showing it in this video. These actions quickly drew legal attention. On May 25th, 2020, Labute was arrested on charges of animal cruelty and released on a $1,000 bond. During the trial, when asked about his motivations for torturing the hamsters, he chillingly admitted that he was bored and derived enjoyment from watching the animals suffer. In August 2021, he was sentenced to an 18-month conditional sentence, along with 4 to 5 years of supervision. His sentence included strict conditions, staying off social media, adhering to a curfew, and avoiding pet shops or any situations involving animals. Following the case, on January 14th, 2022, YouTube terminated Labute's Dollar Flesh channel, removing his original videos from public access. Despite this, reports indicate that he attempted to create new accounts and upload some of his content. Known, those social media users have referred to him as Keadan Salim. According to claims circulating online, the video was originally shared by hospital staff in Iraq, though no sources have been officially verified. In the clip, Keadan appears to have just regained consciousness shortly after reportedly having organs removed and being declared clinically dead. A detail that fueled significant controversy and disbelief. The video shows him sitting on a hospital stretcher, dressed in a standard hospital. On July 18th, 2025, an Instagram account called History is Timeless shared a highly disturbing video that quickly drew widespread attention online. The footage allegedly depicts a burn victim whose identity remains unknown, though social media users have referred to him as Keadan Salim. According to claims circulating online, The video was originally shared by hospital staff in Iraq, though no sources have been officially verified. In the clip, Kiadan appears to have just regained consciousness shortly after reportedly having organs removed and being declared clinically dead, a detail that has fueled significant controversy and disbelief. The video shows him sitting on a hospital stretcher, dressed in a standard hospital gown, looking visibly disoriented and possibly neurologically impaired.
Good, y'all. It's pro football player Jake Ferguson. Under Armour knee gear makes the Jamies. Compression locks me in.
Talis is a global leader in cybersecurity, securing what matters most.
What's my favorite thing about the fall season? I would probably say the warmth of a home comes with coordinates. Whether it be the colors, the smells, those are those textures and that warmth that make.
I'm Jordan, and these are my breasts. We've been through some big changes, divorce, a new grandson, and as my next chapter began, I was starting breast cancer.
At one point, the scene slowly moved out of the room, which led to widespread speculation that he somehow walked out of the medical facility under his own power. Despite these claims, there is no independent verification of these events. No news outlets have reported on the incident. No death certificate or autopsy record has surfaced, and the name Kiadan Salu appears only in online captions or social media posts, rather than in any official documentation. On top of that, no hospital or medical institution has been. Publicly acknowledged the event, leaving its legitimacy highly questionable. The video itself is grainy and low resolution, and there have been no updates, follow-ups, or corroborating reports since it first appeared online. This lack of confirmation has caused many to doubt the authenticity of the footage and the extraordinary claims associated with it. On April 14th, 2022, 38-year-old Johnny Cashman, a resident of Lynchburg, Virginia, was last heard from by his family. According to those close to him, his sudden lack of communication was highly unusual, raising immediate concern. Johnny had been described as generally reliable and in regular contact with family and friends, so his unexpected silence alarmed those who knew him best. About 5 days later, worried for his safety, Johnny's family requested a welfare check by local authorities. When officers from the Lynchburg Police Department entered his apartment, they discovered his body. At the time, the death was ruled as the result of a medical condition, and no autopsy was performed. Following this...
I think, yeah, there's a...
body was cremated shortly thereafter, but the detail for further threads of investigation. The case took a more disturbing turn on April 29th, 2022, when Johnny's ex-girlfriend entered the apartment to collect his personal belongings. She reported finding what she described as a disturbing scene, large amounts of blood, and evidence suggesting a violent struggle. This discovery led her to suspect that foul play may have been involved in his death, contrary to the initial medical report. Around the same time, unverified CCTV footage from a neighboring apartment began circulating online. The footage reportedly showed an unidentified man entering Johnny's apartment, followed by sounds of yelling and what appeared to be a struggle coming from inside. While the authenticity of the video has not been confirmed by law enforcement, it quickly went viral after the true crime podcast Going West uploaded it to their Facebook page. The footage became a focal point for online discussions, fueling widespread speculation about the circumstances surrounding Johnny's death. In the weeks that followed, the Lynchburg Police Department located and interviewed Stephen Church, who had been in contact with Johnny prior to his death. Stephen cooperated fully, providing statements regarding the events leading up to the tragedy. Despite these developments and the circulating footage, the investigation consisted of limitations, particularly as Johnny's body had already been cremated, preventing a thorough examination. Ultimately, the Lynchburg Commonwealth's attorney announced that no charges would be filed in connection with Johnny Cashman's death. The decision was reportedly based on a lack of evidence suggesting foul play, the absence of external trauma, and the fact that the body had been cremated, which made it impossible to obtain conclusive forensic results.
Lindor, made to melting. I'm a Lincoln Master chocolatier.
Remember, Kyle, if it can be boxed on the road, you will find it. Angel of Death Challenge. On June 3rd, 2022, an 18-year-old teen tragically passed away after falling in front of a truck in Tanqueray, Indonesia. However, what made this particular incident stand out among the dozens of tragic-related deaths on Indonesian roads every day was that this was not an accident. Instead, this was the result of one of the most disturbing internet trends that was sweeping the country during this time. It had actually started back in 2021, but exploded in popularity in 2022. The
trend was called the Malaikat Mao Challenge, or the Angel of Death Challenge in English. It involved TikTokers, mainly teenagers, playing a game with oncoming traffic, particularly loaded trucks. Their goal was to run out onto a busy street in front of a truck, hope it stops before hitting them without flinching, and post the video of the stunt online. But completing this dangerous challenge successfully was a lot harder than many of its unfortunate participants realized. Most of them jumped onto the road as the truck got extremely close, giving the driver virtually no time to notice them and apply the brakes. But even when drivers had enough time to see the kids performing these stunts, they still couldn't slow down in time to prevent tragedy. Trucks usually carry heavy cargo, and that weight doesn't stop on a dime. The heavier the load, the longer the braking distance, sometimes stretching dozens of meters even after the brakes are fully pressed. So by the time the drivers reacted, it was already too late. Not to mention the fact that this trend was also putting the truck drivers at risk, both physically and psychologically. For one of these cases, involving a 14-year-old participating in this challenge, the driver fled the scene, likely out of fear of facing criminal charges. If he had instead stopped and cooperated, the footage the teenager's friends captured for TikTok would have proven his innocence. But by running away, he turned himself into a hit-and-run suspect, potentially jeopardizing his job and even his freedom depending on the charges he received. Following the incident in Tangerang, Indonesian police acted quickly to prevent further tragedies. They managed to stop 14 more kids from attempting the same dangerous stunt that very day and continued to monitor the city over the upcoming months. However, the attempts in Tangerang, Indonesia were only a small part of the global trend that cost several lives and left many others with life-altering injuries over the next year. Thankfully, TikTok eventually stepped in and removed all content related to the Angel of Death challenge. And since social media validation was the main reason participants took part in this dangerous trend, the platform's fame caused it to gradually fade into obscurity. Happy slapping. On the 21st of January 2005, the Tez magazine in the UK reported on a new trend spreading rapidly across the country, something they referred to as happy slapping. Contrary to its name, however, the trend was anything but happy. In essence, it involved people, often young adults or teenagers, going up to a random person, slapping them, recording their shocked reaction, and then sharing that video with others. Personal camcorders and phones with cameras were becoming a lot more accessible during this time, allowing the attackers to record their crime and share it as something fun. These happy slapping videos were shared all over the internet for the whole world to see. As for how this trend initially started, some reports from the time linked them to violent TV shows like Jackass and 30 Sanchez. A big difference between these shows and the happy slapping videos, however, was that everyone on TV consented to enduring the pain on camera. The people filming happy slapping videos, on the other hand, usually targeted complete strangers and bystanders for what they perceived as social clout. As a media expert from that time explained it, what we see the kids watching these shows doing is thinking, well, maybe I can stage my own scenes of pain and humiliation along the line. Then with happy slapping, people are drawn in as random victims, rather than the kind of voluntary performances we get in the shows that are being copied. I think happy slapping has become a shortcut in the eyes of the slappers to fame and notoriety among the people who see the images circulated on the web or sent to them via their and while that was already bad enough ones. As time went on, the recordings became increasingly violent, likely in an effort to outdo one another and stand out in the sea of dozens, if not hundreds of similar videos. Things went from humiliating but physically harmless slaps to coordinated attacks resulting in permanent injuries. One of the worst cases of this happened on August 31st, 2009 in South London. A 67-year-old retired care worker named Ekram Haq left the mosque on Church Lane in Tooting, England after the evening prayer, where he was then approached by two boys, 15-year-old Hamza and 16-year-old happy slapping. Things quickly spiraled out of control as neither of them held back, resulting in Ekram passing away a week later from a severe headache he received afterwards. The two were eventually identified as the from CCTV footage from a nearby camera. Both pled guilty to manslaughter, Ekram receiving a 4.5-year sentence and Hamza sentenced to 3.5 years. The slapping trend as a whole eventually faded away after the UK and the surrounding countries started treating it as a significant threat to public safety, with France even criminalizing it. Skullbreaker Challenge. On February 14th, 2020, 12-year-old Parker Smith was invited by his friends to film what seemed like a harmless jumping contest with them. He agreed, and on camera jumped the highest he could. But instead of landing safely on his feet, he fell backward and fractured his right arm. He was rushed to the hospital immediately and fortunately made a full recovery over the following weeks. However, what seemed like a simple accident turned out to be part of a disturbing internet trend his friends were attempting to recreate. The so-called Skull Breaker Challenge required 3 people to stand in a line and somehow connect the person in the middle to jump. As soon as they did, the 2 on the outside swept the legs of the one in the middle, who was usually unaware of what was about to happen. This caused them to fall backward, usually on their head, which is where the trend got its name from. It started earlier that year after a video of 2 students from Spain doing it on their friend went viral on social media platforms like TikTok, prompting countless imitators to try and recreate its success. And, as you might imagine, the results were disastrous, with Parker being one of the lucky ones walking away with just a fractured arm. Many others were knocked unconscious by the impact, suffered from severe concussions, and some needed multiple stitches across their soul and face. The most devastating of these incidents happened on January 24, 2020 in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, when a group of 7th graders attempted a challenge in school. Unfortunately, the victim fell way too hard on their head, causing them to lose consciousness and have a seizure. He luckily survived the incident and eventually recovered without any permanent head trauma. However, his initial condition was bad enough that authorities arrested the other 2 13-year-old boys. They were charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 3rd-degree endangering was mostly intentional. Now, I wasn't going to find any reports on whether the charges were dropped. Even if the attempting a dangerous internet challenge goes to show just how dangerous it can be. TikTok also stepped in and banned all videos of this challenge on their platform. Unfortunately, once something is on the internet, it never truly goes away. As evident from 2 girls finding videos of the Skull Breaker Challenge, attempting it on one of their classmates, injuring them, and getting charged for it in November 2022, more than 2.5 years after the original fad ended. Fortunately, there haven't been many reports of kids getting injured because of this challenge ever since.
Turn your pastime into your full-time. Your personal style into your signature brand. Do it yourself. Create your website on Wix.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
What made this even stranger was the fact that the majority of these stolen vehicles were either from Kia or Hyundai, with theft of these particular cars doubling or even tripling in some areas compared to previous years. However, before investigators could determine the cause of this surge, the situation spiraled beyond their control in ways they could have never expected. Put simply, stealing Kia and Hyundai cars became an internet trend called the Kia Challenge. It began on July 12, 2022, when a video captioned "Kia boys" went viral for demonstrating just how easy it was to steal Kia and Hyundai cars manufactured between 2011 and 2021. All a thief needed was a screwdriver and any regular USB cable, since the connector just so happened to be the perfect size and shape to jumpstart the vehicle. This was a major hardware-level security flaw in dozens of car models, and there was no permanent way to fix the problem either. Now, the original Kia Boys video was eventually taken down by TikTok, but the information was already out there, and it already sparked the Kia Challenge. Teenagers across the US started breaking into Kias and Hyundais and posting their stunts on social media to participate in the challenge. While the stolen cars caused a massive financial burden for hundreds of innocent residents, the real danger of the Kia Challenge came from what many of the thieves did once they had taken control of the vehicles. Since many of them had no intention of actually profiting off the stolen cars, and more came from what many of the thieves did once they had taken control of the vehicles. Since many of them had no intention of actually profiting off the stolen cars, and more everyone else on the road in extreme danger. One of these joyrides led to a police chase, which eventually ended with the out-of-control car slamming into the concrete barrier and the teenagers who stole the car trying to flee on foot. The most disturbing of these incidents occurred in Buffalo, New York in October 2022, where a stolen key ride ended in a fatal crash, taking the lives surfing out the back window of a car when the vehicle lost control and rolled over. He would have almost certainly kept his life if he were in the seat with a seatbelt. Sadly, the car surfing trend is just as alive today as it was 3 decades ago. It shows no signs of fading away anytime soon. Blackout Challenge. The Blackout Challenge has existed long before social media. The goal in this challenge is to achieve a brief Blackout Challenge. The Blackout Challenge has existed long before social media. The goal in this challenge is to achieve a brief high that comes from cutting off oxygen to the brain by intentionally suffocating until you lose consciousness. However, while many assume that blacking out from lack of oxygen is perfectly safe in the long run, that couldn't be further from the truth. The rewarding high in this challenge is in reality a dangerous form of cerebral hypoxia, where brain cells are deprived of vital oxygen. This can lead to seizures and hemorrhages. Even if someone survives the hypoxia, where brain cells are deprived of vital oxygen, this can lead to seizures and hemorrhages. Even if someone survives the challenge seemingly unharmed, depriving the brain of oxygen for just a minute can cause permanent, irreversible damage. This can affect memory, reasoning, and other. An irreversible tragedy is terrifyingly thin, and once consciousness is lost, there's no way to control the outcome. Not to mention the very real risk of the person never waking up again. Unfortunately, many who try to recreate this challenge are completely unaware of these dangers, resulting in 82 people losing their lives between 1990. Try to recreate this challenge are completely unaware of these dangers, resulting in 82 people losing their lives between 1990. Even worse is that almost all of these deaths were between the ages of 6 and 19. Much like other viral trends, young impressionable kids are especially common and motivated by peer pressure or the need for validation online or in real life, which is why the resurgence of the Blackout Challenge through social media platforms like TikTok and left a devastating trail of victims. One of the most well-known cases is that of Nyla Anderson, a 10-year-old girl from Pennsylvania. Her family found her unconscious on the bedroom floor on the night of December 7, 2021. They rushed her to the nearby hospital. Unfortunately, it was already too late. After barely clinging to life for 5 days, she tragically passed away without ever waking up. No one knew why she would do something like this, until investigators did a forensic analysis of her phone, which revealed she had been viewing videos of the challenge on TikTok. Another tragic instance happened in April 2022, when a 12-year-old boy from the United Kingdom, Archie Mattersby, suffered catastrophic brain damage after attempting the challenge and passed away months later. These weren't isolated incidents either. Numerous other children, some as young as 8, suffered a similar fate or other life-altering injuries after attempting this challenge.
Everyone is after me with selfish intentions. I never had a chance, so don't even go.
TikTok of his son to his 1.1 million followers. He's not the only one who got exposed to the relationship with this man who's a Benjamin Jackson. Got a lot of attention because people thought he was attractive, but he also got